or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
And what's up, full-time family? Bellator 204 is going down this Friday, and it's going to be headlined by Darion Caldwell versus Lahat. So I wanted to make sure I got the breakdown and predictions out in time. We've also got James Gallaher on the card, as well as Chris Linkioni and Taiwan Claxton, a couple of fun fights, and also undefeated welterweight Logan Storley. So we got some good fights at Bellator 204. With that being said, let's jump right into the predictions. First fight, man, hard one for me to call, not gonna lie. Chris Linkioni, formerly known as Chris Williams, changed his name, I believe, to honor his grandfather. But he's 1-1 in Bellator, and he's taking on Taiwan Air Claxton. If you recall, man, in Taiwan Claxton's MMA debut in Bellator, he got that flying knee KO that was reminiscent of the Air Jordan, you know, Michael Jordan flying through the air, because he launched at his opponent and knocked him out with a flying knee from across the octagon. So that moment went viral for sure. Air Claxton, in his second fight, he was a little disappointed, even though he won the fight via KO TKO, because he was looking for another, viral finish. He wasn't happy with just the ground and pound, knocking his opponent out with the ground and pound. He wanted another flying knee. So I'm sure he's going to be coming in here looking for some sort of viral finish on Chris Linkioni, and I think he'll be able to win this fight as long as he can avoid being submitted by Chris Linkioni, because Chris, he's so confident on the ground that he pulled guard in both of his first two fights in Bellator. And in his second fight, his most recent Bellator fight, it was his first pro loss. But he pulled guard a couple of times and was unable to find the submission, so his opponent had top position for a lot of the time and won the fight. So Chris kind of put himself in a bad position, but it's because he was so confident in his ground game, which means Taiwan Claxton's going to have to be really careful on the ground. But I think other than that, man, Chris Linkioni also has some great kicks. He put on display in his Bellator fights. But, between his kicks and his submissions, he was also getting clipped up in his last fight, standing a little bit. His opponent had a good jab, and, Chris Linkioni, didn't have the best. It didn't seem defense as far as standing up, but he really wanted to get the fight to the ground. So, it was like he was looking, that's really what he was looking for. So it is what it is. Chris Linkioni, I think he's definitely a good fighter. I wonder what would have happened in his last fight if he wouldn't have pulled guard. He was looking good standing up. He did eat a couple shots, couple jabs or whatever. His opponent seemed like he might have had the better hands, but it was really because Chris Linkioni was ripping shots to the body. He's got a nice, he has a karate background that he spoke about, but he also trains out at Portland, I believe, at Gracie Baja with Chael Sonnen and them, Ricky Simon, and so he's also got some solid wrestling. So he's pretty well rounded. He's got some, some nice kicks. He kicked his opponent in the head a couple times, great body kicks. But yeah, man, Taiwan Claxton might be able to find an opening, but he's going to definitely be looking for the KO. But I'm giving the slight edge to Taiwan Claxton in this fight. Chris Linkioni can definitely win this fight. Who knows? Maybe he gets a submission. Taiwan Claxton was able to take his opponent down in the last fight. But yeah, so if he does that in this fight, Chris Linkioni is going to be looking for a submission. Taiwan Claxton does have great wrestling, so that's somewhere Chris likes to be. So this is a interesting style matchup. Chris is going to be, if he wins, I think his best chance will be that submission, but I'm going to give the edge to Taiwan Claxton. Moving on to the next fight, we've got a bantamweight feature fight between James Gallaher and Ricky Bandejas. Man, this is a tough fight. I really don't want to pick against James Gallaher, man. He's like Bellator's Conor McGregor low-key, but he's still young, And I only say he's like Bellator's Conor McGregor because he's a finisher. He's training out of SBG. He is one of Conor McGregor's teammates. He's good on the microphone, so really reminds you of his teammate Conor McGregor a lot of the times. But his specialty is submissions. He's 7-0, undefeated. 6 of those wins are all by way of submission. But this is for sure going to be his toughest fight to date. And James Gallaher is only 21 years old, but he does believe if he gets a win in this fight, he's going to be getting the next crack, or he wants the next crack at Darion Caldwell, the current bantamweight champion. But man, James Gallaher most recently beat Chinzo Machida. Great performance, another submission. Like I said, this is going to be the toughest fight in his career. Ricky Bandejas is currently riding a 5-fight winning streak at bantamweight in the CFFC, and he's fought some experienced guys. Ricky also had 8 amateur fights on top of his 11 pro fights at only 26 years of age, so this is a dangerous fight for the highly touted prospect James Gallaher. This fight's for sure going to be Gallaher's toughest test to date, but if he wins, like I said, he'll likely get the winner of Caldwell and Lahat. But I'm going to give the edge to the newcomer Ricky Bandejas. A lot of people might not know who he is, but he's actually very talented. 10-1 as a professional. Did great in the amateurs before turning pro. So I think this is going to be James Gallaher's toughest test to date. He's only 21 years old. A loss here is not the end of the world. You know, he's still got a lot of time to come back, bounce back, and he's actually got a great matchup against the champion Darion Caldwell, ideally because he's so good at jiu-jitsu and submissions, and Darion Caldwell is looked at as more of a wrestler, although he's got 5 submissions himself. So with that being said, I didn't think I was going to be picking against James Gallaher going into this, but after I did some research on Ricky Bandejas, man, he's definitely a sleeper. Even if he loses this fight via submission, which I believe that would be his only way to lose. It's not the only way to lose the fight, but I think that's James Gallaher's best path to victory is getting a submission here. But Ricky Bandejas, man, really underrated, slept on, 11 pro fights, 26 years old. I mean, he's beat some experienced guys outside of Bellator. He's going to be making his Bellator debut, and I think a lot of people are going to know who he is after this fight. But like I said, a loss here for James Gallaher is not the end of the world. He's only 21 years old, still got a bright future over at Bellator. And with that being said, Bellator. I'm repping Bellator. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm actually going to put that at the end of my Bellator predictions because I think that's pretty fun. So some of you guys don't know what we're talking about yet. You'll hear it at the end. We got the Dana White versus Scott Coker battle rap. It's pretty funny. If you want, you can check that out at the end of this video. And if not, after we're done with the breakdown and predictions, get on out of here. So we'll see either way. Appreciate you checking out the video. Let's get into the co-main event of the evening. Logan Storley versus AJ Matthews. Logan Storley is an undefeated welterweight taking on AJ Matthews, who is 9-7 as a pro, 5-4 in Bellator. And he was riding a 4-fight losing streak, I believe, before his most recent win over Kendall Grove. So I'm definitely going to be taking Logan Storley in this fight. He's beat some decent guys. He's also undefeated. AJ Matthews, he's lost 4 of his last 5 fights, and his only win was a split decision in January over Kendall Grove. So I'm going to be picking Logan Storley to remain undefeated in this fight. Moving on, we got Darion Caldwell, the bantamweight champion over at Bellator, defended his title against Nadav, a UFC veteran. Perfect for Scott Coker versus Dana White. I mean, a little bit. You got Darion Caldwell, the Bellator bantamweight champion. Lahat went 2-2 in the UFC before coming over to Bellator and going 3-1, earning a title shot against the very talented grappler Darion Caldwell. I'm taking Darion Caldwell to remain the champion in this fight if he can avoid being submitted by Lahat, who does have 6 of his 12 wins by way of submission. But I think Caldwell, just because he's known as more of a grappler, people are asleep on the fact that he has 5 submission wins of his own. So he's well-rounded, actually, as the Bellator bantamweight champion. And, of course, his striking is ever improving. So, with that being said, in my mind, Darion Caldwell has more paths to victory in this fight. He's more likely to win a decision if this fight goes to decision, not only because he's the champion, but also because he's likely going to be the better wrestler. And, if you think Lahat might submit Darion Caldwell, hell, Darion Caldwell might submit Nadav. He's got 5 submissions of his own. So I'm picking Darion Caldwell to get the job done, remain the bantamweight champion, and either after this fight, we'll see what happens. But if he wins this fight, he's got aspirations of being a Bellator champ. He's talked about potentially fighting one of the Pitbull brothers, for the featherweight title, or whoever's got the featherweight belt by the time he's ready to challenge for it. Or if he wins this fight, you know, James Gallaher believes he's next for the title shot if he can get a win here. So we'll see what happens, man. But a lot of stuff could play out. Good fights for Darion Caldwell either way. And he's, you know, looked great in his most recent fights in his title defenses. So I got Darion Caldwell taking home the W and retaining his title. These is my breakdown and predictions for Bellator 204 taking place this Friday. I believe that the date for that is going to be August 16th, if I'm not mistaken, August 17th. Let's see, I got it right here. Yeah, August 17th. So Bellator 204, August 17th. Make sure you guys tune in. Going to be some great fights in my mind. Just looking at this main card, I'm interested in all of these fights. You got Eric Claxton, James Gallaher, undefeated Logan Storley, and of course the champ Darion Caldwell. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments, and check out this Scott Coker vs. Dana White battle rap. And if you enjoy it, hey man, hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. Appreciate it. I'm out.
Bellator, I'm reppin' Bellator, Bellator, Bellator. I'm reppin' Bellator, Bellator, Bellator. I'm reppin' Bellator, Bellator, Bellator. I'm reppin' Bellator. Look, Dana White, you found a fight. You said some shit that I ain't like about Bellator, so now it's time to back it up. Now grab the mic. You slap the fighters with the Reebok deal and treat them like some fools. I ask the fighters how the people feel, so people think I'm cool. Yeah, Scott Coker, baby, you ain't fucking with us. I'm like a stockbroker, baby, and I'm running it up. Go get your pot holders, baby. I'm like the oven to touch, and you can get Connor or Tony, Dana, my Chandler, fucking him up. Whoa, whoa there, Scott. Whoa, what the fuck? Maybe when you smoke your pie, you shouldn't smoke so much. Because I know that you're high. Michael Chandler would die against Connor or Tony, homie, so don't even try. Now, should I keep it with you, or should I get on your roster? Even Jimmy Smith is just a roster imposter. You got James Gallaher, he just wanna be Connor. You got Rory McDonald only cause we didn't want him. You see, Scott Coker, me and you, we are not kosher. You're not a stockbroker, boy, you're a stockholder. What the fuck were you thinking, sending that shitty diss my way? You need to think before you diss. While you're at it, take these flyweights.
And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Make sure you also hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video, or some of the time that I upload a new video, because YouTube's notification bell is a player hater. But this is one of the hardest working independent MMA channels on YouTube. We provide daily updates, full fight card breakdowns and predictions. We make MMA fighter freestyles, and we've already interviewed pro fighters Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Felony Charles Bennett, and Bruce Lushmedio in just a little over a year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on YouTube. So with that being said, if you're interested in more videos like this, check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo over at patreon.com. One of the things you can see while you're over there are some of the goals of the channel, and also more free videos like this, betting advice, and more. We just launched the Full-Time MMA store over on teespring.com, and we've got some limited edition gear in order to celebrate that. We've got some Day One Fook the Other Side shirts that are only available for a limited time. Also, you got leggings, phone cases, Don't Be a Bagel Biter, coffee mugs, and more. With that being said, you can check the links out in the description if you want to check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo or the Full-Time MMA store on Teespring. I apologize about the long outro, but a closed mouth don't get fed. So respect. Let the Full-Time family know what you think in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOG.